Welcome, everyone, to our first 2023 TELS Service Network webinar. My name is John Walter, Executive Vice President at Direct Supply and General Manager of our TELS business. I have met many of you. I look forward to meeting all of the rest. And I am told that today we have a record audience for our webinar, which makes sense. I think we're all excited to be into the new year, hit the reset button, and figure out what we can do to make it a gangbuster year. For those of you who are new to the webinar, we are going to have a Q&A at the end, so you'll see some chat functionality in the webinar software itself. Feel free to submit questions. We'll get to as many of those as we possibly can at the very end, and anything left over, your market manager will hit up with you. The purpose of these webinars is to walk through what's happening in the healthcare spectrum that we serve together, what's new in the world of TELS, and make sure that we're doing everything possible to have a cohesive, productive partnership with all of our service providers. So thank you for tuning in. We try to end on time because we know you have a ton of work to do. So since this is the first time together, I just really quickly want to talk about how extraordinary of a year 2022 was. We grew a lot. In fact, 20% of our service network more than doubled in sales volume with us. And one of the indicators that I certainly felt throughout the year was more million-dollar toasts. Quite a few of you came up to Milwaukee to our headquarters, and every time a service provider hits the million-dollar landmark, we do a champagne toast. I hope to see many more of you here in 2023 as our business continues to grow with you. We also applied artificial intelligence, not creating the business buzzwords, but we put it to use. And we saw a 15% increase in our project win rate when we applied our new AI tools for the bid review process. And this is great because this is a weapon that we built for you to make sure that we win business with you. And this investment in applied artificial intelligence is only going to escalate throughout the course of the year for direct supply. And you'll find some new, I think really powerful ways that it'll help you grow your business as well. TELS Plus is our go-to-market program where we're trying to get elevated commitments from our largest corporate customers. And we saw 69% order growth in buildings after they sign up to the TELS Plus program. And so that's a really exciting landmark for us to hit. And you'll see an even bigger number I'm going to share later with the TELS Plus statistics. We expanded our footprint together. 190 markets served across the United States. And we have to thank all of you for keeping the data up to date. We don't know where you do work unless you update your coverage in the TELS Connect system. And so those 190 markets served are a function of you keeping that data accurate. We did more jobs. I mean, we're in this business for work and to do work. We had a 17% increase in dispatch volume year over year. And we had one hell of a day in December. December 23rd had the highest number of tickets we've ever opened in a single day. It was really a pretty crazy time. I'm sure all of you remember it, and I'm sure some of you are still digging out of it. And because of that, I did just want to share a few examples, right? So a big shout out to the entire service network, but I want to specifically share 3 service stories that made a huge impact, and there were many more. The first one was in Lancaster, Texas, and our friends at McCloskey Mechanical Contractors. There's a gas pipe leak leading to the fire department shutting off all the gas to the building and the residents having no heat whatsoever. Everyone at the building, and including at the corporate office, had already come to grips with the fact that they were going to have to do a full evacuation of the building. So at midnight, they were going to make the call, and everyone believed it was inevitable. McCloskey's tech was able to repair the entire section of piping, got the gas back on in less than 2 hours, and avoided an evacuation for an entire building. The impact here is huge. Sure, a tremendous financial impact here to save the healthcare operator money. But more importantly, evacuations are dangerous to our residents, and they are a huge cause of death when it happens in one of these buildings. And so to the folks at McCloskey, thank you so much for the heroics and making sure that we were able to avoid that evacuation. Out in Pittsburgh, our friends at Century Mechanical stepped up to the plate on Christmas Eve. There was a rooftop unit serving the dining area that totally cut out. and the interior temp just kept on dropping. It got down to about 65 degrees, and that's when we get into the danger zone. So we at the TELS team emailed the owner and manager at Century about the situation, and a tech arrived on site that evening, was able to put together a temporary fix to get the dining hall up and running again prior to all the Christmas holiday events. Again, financial impact, of course, but more importantly, we're in the business of memories in senior care. And at the risk of being a little bit morbid, but also a realist, some of these residents were enjoying their last Christmas dinner, and the folks at Century Mechanical made sure that it was a good one. So massive thanks to all of you in Pittsburgh for making that happen. And the last one I'll share, and there are others, I promise you, was our friends at NextGen HVAC. This is a relatively new service provider to our network, just coming on late last year. A customer who hadn't used TELS since 2020 called us up as a last resort. They were in an emergency. They called us on the 22nd. The building was without heat. They were in the middle of the snowstorm, and they too are looking at evacuation. The service manager responded to the call, drove through the storm, arrived on site within 2.5 hours, and got the heat back up and running. Not only did we have the same impact avoiding an evacuation, now as we talk about growth, we have the potential to add that customer back into our customer base thanks to the great work coming from our service network. So thanks again to the folks at NextGen. All of you stepped up to the plate. We had over 1,000 emergency dispatches over one holiday weekend, and we were really proud to be in the trenches with this whole crew during that emergency with you. Now, when we come into these calls, growth is always an area of emphasis. But at the beginning of the year, I think it especially is because we're all doing the planning efforts to figure out what do we do to make sure that this is a great year ahead. And so there are a few areas that we're investing in at Direct Supply to drive growth. And I want you to understand how you can capitalize on those investments. The first one is growing our TELS Plus customer base. Last year, we added over 400 buildings into that program. And just as a reminder, TELS Plus is our go-to-market program where we secure corporate commitments at the highest level of our corporate customers. We deliver them data-driven insights throughout the year to help them figure out more effective ways of operating their buildings, how to be more life safety code compliant, how to spend less money, how to coach all their team members, etc. In this program, we leverage relationships from top to bottom. And for the new operators that we signed up last year in TELS Plus, we saw a 179% increase in revenue. And so as we sign these guys on, we see the revenue follows. And so as we continue to build out the programming to make this offering more compelling to the corporate customers, we want to make sure that you see that pull through come through your business as well. And so TELS Plus is an area of investment for us where we think we can bring your great results to life and help our customers understand why they should select you as their service provider through TELS. The second one is driving digital service requests to our platform to capture better information about a customer's needs prior to the service event. So this is all about giving your company better insights before arriving on site to set you up for success. This differentiates TELS from alternatives because we are leveraging data in different ways for the customers, but more importantly, it differentiates you from other service providers because we can create an experience with you via data that helps our customers understand why this is the way they want to consume service events. Now, related to the kind of digital ingestion of the service event, we're doing a lot with artificial intelligence and machine learning in our technology platform these days at Direct Supply. AI and ML is a huge macro trend in the world and business. We are a company who is actually deploying it and using it. We're not just talking about it. For those of you able to visit us in Milwaukee, we would love to show you our technology center where we're putting it to use, even the supercomputer we're using to put it to use. But in the context of this call, this is all about creating insights on the best ways to win and keep business with our customers. And as we build out artificial intelligence systems, they will learn to reward the service providers delivering the greatest outcomes for our customers. And so again, this comes down to performance and the metrics in your dashboards, the better work you do, the more the TELS and the systems we're building will reward that work because we want to repeat it with customers as many times as possible. AI is most powerful when you don't even know it's there. So know that we are investing in it behind the scenes. It's in the background supporting you, and we hope you'll see the outcomes manifest as more growth for your company. The last one I thought worth noting in today's call is improving our invoicing experience. We want to cut down the invoicing delays and the whole back and forth that can exist between our teams. So we're investing in tools to make it easier for our teams to process invoices, simply ensuring that you get paid promptly. So we'll have more updates for that coming as the year progresses. Our teams are actively working on that right now. So a few revenue growth hacks for you all to consider, because we're trying to invest on our end, but we want to make sure that you know what you can do on your end to help sustain your growth rates within the TELS network. The first one I'll highlight is right size scopes and cost. Now, this especially pertains to our TELS Plus customers, so the large corporations we're signing up for these really big commitments, and for our REIT customers, the real estate investment trusts. You've heard me reference the REITs several times over the last couple of years. Their influence in our industry is growing. The way that lease structures are being implemented these days in senior care is the REIT has more control over the operations within the building itself, and they end up being the decision makers for many of the dollars being spent. So our go-to-market efforts, while they used to be heavily anchored on the operator side and their C-suites, now we're spending a lot of time with the real estate owners side and their C-suites. So we worked with the chief development officer of Ventas, one of the largest healthcare REITs in the country, just last week, where they decided to host Ventas, the REIT, hosted an operators summit in Milwaukee at our innovation center with 10 of their largest operators, walking through best practices, utilizing TELS, and making sure that a dedicated partnership between TELS and Ventas would be to the benefit of all the buildings that they own and to all of their tenants. As we go and try to do capital work for Ventas and their operators, having right-sized scopes at a fair cost is going to be mission critical, because they're going to be assessing it over the next 12 months as they look to dedicate more and more of their funds to direct supply. The dollars are real here. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of guaranteed annual spend from these REITs. And so we want to make sure we put our best foot forward, and we ask for all of your help as we do so. The second thing I'll highlight is just simply updating your capabilities and contacts within the TELS Connect system. So we've turned over the keys to all of you so that you can share your capabilities with us. And so I'm asking you to make sure that the data in there is accurate. Help us make sure we're not wasting time for either side by sending jobs to the incorrect contacts on your end. And I have to say thank you to the many service providers out there who are regularly updating your contacts. We've had over 2,000 contacts updated in the last 3 months. So we put rules in place to try to streamline this a little bit, so that if your team declines a job because you don't offer a particular service, we will automatically update the capabilities in the system so we stop bothering you with jobs you can't do. On a related note, we approve capabilities in the system based on jobs you accept. But just know that we rely on you to also check and make sure that you're not missing out on business and on opportunities because the information is out of date. Number 3, if you expanded, let us know. Just let us know what your coverage area is. If you keep us up to date in TELS Connect, then we can make sure we're sending jobs your way. It's just that simple. So check in occasionally in TELS Connect to make sure that the coverage areas you've selected for the services you provide are in fact accurate, so we can give you all the business that you deserve. And the last one, this is really important, is manage your metrics. Right? We're giving customers more and more information about our network when they're creating service requests. And we want to make sure your metrics look great so that they're more inclined to select your company. So certainly keeping up with your TELS Connect information is critically important to ensuring we send you the right jobs. And I can't stress enough, as we begin to work on more of the CapEx work for our customers, your ability to have the right scope at a competitive cost will drive growth this year. I promise you, because that money is being spent. It wouldn't be one of our webinars without talking a little bit about technology utilization. And if you joined us last time, we spoke extensively about metrics. It was the main concept in the call. But I did want to share just a few key reminders this morning. First, make sure you have the right link. All right, bookmark the right site and log in regularly to monitor your metrics. And if you're not sure you have the right link, we are going to send it to you in a follow-up email to this webinar to make sure you have it. Just bookmark that new link so that you're getting the good stuff. Number two, you can now see how your program compares to others in your geographical area based on customer ratings, response times, and program rates. So use this information to help you understand where your program is differentiated in the market and where you might have an opportunity to improve if you're looking for new opportunities. And the other cool thing is we operate as more of a platform and leverage our technology to help our customers. For years, our customers have had the ability to self-select service providers from our network using the technology. They can just pick it in the mobile app. But now customers can see more information above and beyond the name of the service provider. And you can see at the bottom of the screen right now. They can see the response times for same day, next day service. They can see quality. They can see more information. So your performance is a marketing tool for your growth. And so just more reason to be making sure that you're checking out those metrics in TELS Connect, because that information is presented to our customers. All the information about your team's performance is at your fingertips. And so as a bonus feature, this is something we haven't done before, a bonus of today's webinar, everyone who simply logs in to look at your metrics within the next 24 hours of this webinar will enter you into a drawing to win a $100 gift card. So it's about a 5-second exercise to enter the drawing, and hopefully you extend it into about a 5-minute exercise and check out some metrics and perhaps identify some action plans for some better performance. Now, as we go into this next year, we're thinking at Direct Supply that in the senior living space, this might be one of the more volatile and one of the more intense years for the healthcare operators. And much of it has to do with funding dynamics that remain up in the air. So Senior Living Advocacy is our supplier-funded advocacy group that supports all the seniors that we serve. And there are a few themes going on right now that we are pushing hard and fighting for on Capitol Hill that I thought you might be interested in. The first one is Medicare Payment Advisory Commission, also known as MedPAC, is proposing a 3% reduction in skilled nursing payment rates. Now, 3% seems like a small number, but when you consider that many of these skilled nursing providers are already losing money, and certainly are without the use of some other emergency funding coming their way, all that does is put them more in the red. So that would have a devastating impact that we are fighting hard against to make sure that our skilled nursing customers are able to bounce back from this post-pandemic world that we're in. I think it's a decent time for me to remind you that as our customers face that fluctuation and uncertainty, we do end up playing bank and making sure that we always pay you, even while we have to use our collections team to make sure that our customers pay us. We're also fighting for the public health emergency funds to be sustained. So since 2020, the federal government has issued a public health emergency that has been giving a Medicaid reimbursement bump to all of our customers. That funding is getting scaled back quarter by quarter. So today it sits at a 6.2% Medicaid reimbursement bump all the way through March, but scaling back to 1.5% by December of this year. We want to try to keep on pushing out and delaying that scale back so that our customers can retain those funds. And so we'll be working hard to retain those public health emergency funds. We're also fighting hard against the staffing mandate minimums. You may have seen this in the news, but we're expecting the Biden administration to release a staffing mandate minimum in healthcare. And it's rumored, we don't know, but it's rumored to be around 4 residents per staff member. This could be fine if it's funded, but the challenge is that right now our healthcare operators, they're not understaffed because they're not willing to spend the money. They're understaffed because they can't find the labor. And so a mandate for a staffing minimum only exacerbates a pre-existing challenge, and the only ways to resolve that will require more money. And so we must find ways to get the federal government to step in and provide the funding in order to impose that staffing mandate minimum. What we're doing on our end through Senior Living Advocacy is we're employing a digital media campaign to require the administration to fully fund all these new rules in order to allow for adequate care. So this will obviously be in collaboration with other healthcare associations across the country, but wanted you all to be aware that this is a really important fight that we're fighting right now that could have important implications on the customers that we serve. The last one I'll reference on Capitol Hill is the omnibus spending package. So at the end of 2022, Congress passed the spending package. It didn't cover everything that our sector desired, but it did include good things like $150 million for state grants for the construction of state nursing homes, $21 million for small rural hospital improvement with a lot of healthcare IT emphasis, $100 million for biopreparedness workforce pilot programs. This is just basically loan repayments for healthcare professionals with an expertise in infectious diseases. We got an extension of Medicare coverage for telehealth, which is a really big deal that happened during the pandemic that we'd love to see sustained for more efficient provision of healthcare. We found $258 million for new affordable housing for seniors, for units, an additional $1 billion for housing for the elderly. So a lot of funds being distributed, and our job at Direct Supply and leveraging our Senior Living Advocacy Group is to make sure that those funds are deployed wisely so that we get the biggest bang for the buck for all of the seniors who we are serving. Opportunities for our service network might be plentiful in 2023 based on the grant funding still available. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars flooded the states with money that they're still trying to figure out how to disseminate. And our team right now is combing through those grants, working very closely with the state healthcare associations, providing consulting in some cases to talk about highest impact investments to deliver better outcomes for residents. And we continue to see, especially in the HVAC world, some really big dollar amounts being granted. And we're going to help our customers spend those funds wisely to help protect their residents. Senior Living Advocacy, this group is providing the support to influence legislation at the highest levels. And so I just want to really thank you all for helping keep our industry healthy, that ultimately keeps our loved ones and the residents of these buildings very healthy. That's all the prepared content I have for today, but I'm going to switch screens here. I do see that I received quite a few questions, and so we're going to jump into that. Number one is, would love a link on TELS main job page to attach invoices to. That's good timing. So thank you for the feedback. I mentioned a little bit earlier on the call that we just kicked off a multi-phase invoicing investment. So I said we'd have more in subsequent webinars. But we're looking at to improve how we collect invoices. We're going to bring everything into TELS Connect and give you a lot more visibility into the payment status as well. So this is a known pain point. This is a current area of investment. It is not just on our roadmap. We have engineers about 15 feet away from me writing code right now to address that. And so we'll look forward to your feedback as we start releasing more of that functionality. Next question, when can I meet the TELS team in person? Anytime. I would love to meet you in person. There are probably 100 people out here that would love to meet you in person. The invite is totally open, and I'd love for you to come to Milwaukee to see both our main campus where the majority of our TELS team resides, but also our innovation center in downtown Milwaukee, where we can show you more about the impact Direct Supply is having in the technology space and deploying it for healthcare. You'll find it really interesting, and I think it'll also help you understand how your company can leverage some of our technology investments to grow in the years to come. And you'll get to see a really cool supercomputer too. Next question. How often should I be checking my metrics? So that's an interesting question. I think part of that depends on the operating style of your business. Let's say a best practice that we've seen is assigning someone in your company to be responsible for them. And that person may want to log in every day, depending on the operating rhythms within your own business. But if someone is really proficient within the system, understands the metrics, how they're measured, is able to view, export, and discuss them frequently, we think that that is a good best practice. We know some SPs have weekly meetings to talk about specific areas they want to refine. I think that's pretty smart. The beauty of real-time data, though, is that you can leverage the data whenever you want it, however it makes sense in your business. And so that's why we're building the platform with that in mind, real-time access to the insights that matter. And so as you dive into it more, give us feedback to make sure that it is, in fact, useful for you. All right, next question. We're a national partner and need a better way to both organize jobs by state and date created. And we need a way to share notes. There are too many people from TELS reaching out for the same info. All right, thank you. So there's some feedback baked into that question. So appreciate the information. We'll share that with our tech team. There's clearly a filtering component for the job boards we got to figure out there, and that's a really fair thing that we need to address. If you haven't already, whoever asked that question, I'd ask that you join our user experience group. So that's the kind of feedback that we solicit from our service network. We're constantly building technology. Every 2 weeks, we release new code out into the wild, and our UX group really informs that. So whoever asked that, please reach out to your market manager, and we'd love to get you engaged to figure out how we can solve that problem. Next question. We aren't yet investing in AI. How can we partner with TELS on AI? So I'm going to reframe that question for you. I don't think many companies in the world should be investing in AI as a capability. I think the world of AI is going to evolve as a game of partnerships. And we have an unfair advantage here at Direct Supply because we do have the most powerful supercomputer in the Midwest designed for artificial intelligence, connected to our innovation center via a 50-foot fiber optic line. And so we can process immense amount of data, and we have relationships with academia. We have an entire data science team. We have a lot of resources that are being created to the benefit of our service network and to our customers. That's all background to say that the AI work is not on artificial intelligence, it's on the problem definition. And so you want to deploy AI on the meatiest problems that humans could never do that require immense amounts of data. And so we would like to hear more about your world and your struggles and figure out how we can collide your expertise with other capabilities being built with a heavy emphasis on the problems being solved. And I think that's how we make magic together. So we can leave the AI creation to the very few experts in the world, and then we can partner up on what do we do with it. And that's a really exciting prospect, I think. Next question. Does your fire extinguisher lamp behind you work? Can't wait to visit this. It does work. It's not plugged in. It's not plugged in. In fact, I'm with Chris Olson in my office right now. I was just joking. If all of you could only see how messy my desk was, about 6 inches below the camera, it's really quite embarrassing. So thank you for noticing my sweet lamp from Elkhart, Indiana. That looks like it is all the questions. So thank you all so much for the time. We could not be any more grateful to be in this cause with you. There are over 1 million residents benefiting from our collective partnership every single day. And so thank you for joining that with us. You're doing a great job. Stay in those metrics, and we hope that 2023 is a gangbuster year. Have a great afternoon.